Welcome to the Epigenetic Performance Series short clips. Today, I'm joined by Meg Foley. She is our Director of Performance Psychology at Apeiron. Her history includes crazy work with high performers, Google, Exos, most recently military special operations, where she was teaching how to learn very quickly. And welcome, Meg. We're so excited to chat this morning. You know, today's topic is about creating or establishing a thriving mindset in a time of chaos. And we certainly can recognize that we're in a time of chaos. So talk to us about what you're seeing right now from a mindset perspective. And then I know you're going to give us tips and strategies to really realign our mindset anytime it tends to go in the angle of chaos as opposed to thriving.
Great. Yeah, thank you, Micra. I agree. It's certainly a chaotic point in time, and it's only natural for our brain and our community to go into a little bit of a survival mode. And so that's a natural thing our brain's doing, and you can probably feel it when you're out and about. And so one of the things that I'll offer just real quick are just, simple strategies or really a simple strategy just to notice that that's happening. And so in times like this, when your brain sort of takes over and that survival mechanism kicks in, it's really hard to tell that it's even happening. And it's very hard or challenging to get yourself out of it. So you just tend to notice things in your environment that are potentially threatening or dangerous, and you feel it too. And that kind of feeds the beast, right? It feeds into more of that survival mechanism. And so it's really important just to tune into it and then just start to shift over and notice something different. So move your attention away from, the doom and gloom or whatever it is you're experiencing or seeing, and just choose to focus on something different. And so that's what we'll talk about today.
Yeah, it's so interesting. We live in a thriving world, and so our perception, of course, is that of a thriving world. And to take this time right now to create a completely new experience is our opportunity. And at the same time, modulating really what we're feeling and perceiving as we either are isolated to our homes with our families and our children, spouses, double offices, and homeschooling, and all of the cooking, and also if we're out on the streets and experiencing the collective as we're all moving through this together. So, can you tell me what is your number one strategy to begin to be super aware of how you're moving through this? And once you're aware of it, how to shift it very quickly so that you don't stay in the place of contraction where things are not ideal.
Yeah. The strategies I use often will typically are a type of imagery strategy. And one of the reasons that I use strategies that allow some separation from the experience or the moment is it actually creates a pause, and it gives you some awareness, a slightly different perspective on how you're approaching the situation, the scenario, etc. And so typically what I'll have people do, and I do this a lot when it comes to pain. So I work with soldiers or with athletes, very familiar with pain, right? And so teaching people this pain strategy, we're going to use the exact same strategy for what's going on right now. So with pain, as you know, probably as most people know, it's highly perception based. So depending on what's happening in your environment, in your body, in your emotions, etc., your levels of pain can change. And so I often will tell people, okay, if instead of thinking about it as pain, because you have lots of beliefs and underlying reasons why you've deemed the word pain for that particular injury, etc., instead of thinking about it like that, just give it a color and texture. So you create a level of separation just by giving it a color and texture, and it associates to that magnitude of pain. Once you've done that, you can change the color and texture, which will also change the magnitude of your pain. It sounds very strange to do, and when you implement it, I have yet to hear anyone who's tried it and say, wait, my pain did change. Now, can you hold it there is another step. So for the way we can use the strategy with what's going on now, and Micah, I'll have you go through this right now. I want you to think about a context in which maybe you were out and about. You could have been out walking or at a grocery store or something, and you just sort of feel something, right? Whether it's pressure or you just kind of feel the chaos. Can you think of a context in which you've done that recently?
I can. So, when we did a strategic offsite right after our conference out at Lake Austin, and when I came back into the city, it was really interesting because I generally stay in aligned peace. Mm-hmm. And I was walking down Congress Street to go to our office, and my chest started kind of squeezing, and my breath was a little less than optimal. And I'm in such awareness that I knew that was happening to me, that was happening in me. Yeah. And I said, okay, this is not me. This is uncomfortable, right? So that was my first awareness that I was being informed by the environment around me and everyone else's perceptions and kind of belief systems.
So typically what's happening in that scenario is, you're taking on stuff that's not yours, to put it simply, right? And if you're not aware of it, it can go further into like your thoughts can actually be like, wow, things feel unsafe. Oh my gosh, should I even be out and about? Is this dangerous? Now you're going to notice, oh my gosh, that person's wearing a mask, or, should we go to the grocery store? And this stuff starts, gaining momentum, this thought process. So this strategy that we use with pain, I'll ask you to try with this context of being out and about and noticing the chaos. So I want you to think about, and you're already very aware that wasn't yours. So this strategy actually is going to first help you identify how much of that pressure and chaos is yours and how much of it is someone else's or everyone else's. Mm-hmm. Right? So in that moment, if you can kind of go to that point in time, I want you to think about like the pressure and some of the physiology you noticed. And I want you to give it a color and texture. And this is going to associate to chaos energy that's not yours. What color and texture would you give chaos energy that's not yours?
It would be brown, like a dark, muddy brown, and the texture would be really, really spiky.
Ugh, okay, so not comfortable, and I like that you're doing it. You probably want to give a color and texture that aren't very pleasant to you. You want to like remind yourself to get away from it. Okay. So any energy, any of the chaos thoughts, anything like that, that's not yours will show up in your space as like a brown, kind of murky, icky, and prickly. Mm-hmm. Great. Okay. What color and texture would you give your own chaos energy? Want it to be slightly different than the collective.
When you ask my own chaos energy, are you asking when I feel stressed?
Yeah, when you feel, and it might be just that ping of like, you know what, maybe we should stock up on things. I wonder how long, like you have a business, right? I wonder, do we need to start taking precautions for the business for the sake of our, just some of those thoughts that you might have that are precaution based, but could very easily veer into, okay, this is something we need to be concerned about, or beyond that, right?
Right. Right. Mm-hmm. And that would be, to me, more of a murky red. And the texture would be sort of wavy as opposed to prickly.
Okay, great. So all you're doing is creating a cue for yourself to tune into when you're experiencing something that is throwing you off your game, so to speak, and it's messing with potentially your mind, your emotions, you're just feeling something. We can start to get really clear on, okay, what if this is mine? In which case you have probably some action steps you can take to control it versus what is everyone else's. Okay. And so by cueing into that, again, it creates just enough separation to give you a choice point, as opposed to just kind of experiencing this and let it build and let it build. And then you come home after walking on the city streets, and then, you and Dan start bickering, and then the kids, and then it's just, right. It's the snowball thing. We want to just like get ahead of if we can. Okay, so in that moment when you're walking down Congress Street, what percentage of what you're experiencing would you say, if we think of it like a pie chart, was chaos energy of everyone else's, your own chaos energy, versus, we'll add a third one in here, your just sort of balanced energy? Could you have 3 numbers there? What percentages would you give?
So I think that the the true chaos energy that would be the brown and the prickly would be 10%.
Okay.
My chaos energy would be 5%. And so that would leave the remainder as what I would call normalized, balanced energy.
Okay, so like 85% pretty balanced. Great. Well, since we've given a color and texture for these chaos type energies, let's go to do the same thing for your balance, kind of just, and this doesn't have to be like Zen energy. This could be, focused, having that preparation, having that like ability to just be aware, right? Might look slightly different than just, no, everything's fine. We're not looking for Pollyanna energy. We're looking for just a centered ability to, be present in the moment and take purposeful action when necessary and not wallow when not necessary.
Mm-hmm.
So what color and texture would you give for that energy for you?
That for me is it's like a pearlescent energy. So if you think of kind of mother of pearl, it's like that. It's also that texture. It's very silky and smooth. It just feels very good.
Good. And you can see it actually like changes your physiology when you picture going into that. You're like, as opposed to the brown prickly. It's just immediately like,
right.
I don't even like it, and it's not my energy. So when you think about your pie chart, or when you're out and about, or when you're noticing throughout the day various points of just feeling something, this strategy is a really easy one to tune into to give you just a little bit more awareness and choice. So you can very quickly connect to, okay, not analyze what's happening in the world, or you saw the news, or you talked to somebody, right? And you just start feeling the way, or you're just walking through the grocery store, right? And you just sort of feel the shift. You can feel that. It's a very quick way to create a little bit of separation and give you a better strategy. You can choose then to step into that pearlescent energy that you spoke about, or shift into more of your controlled chaos energy, right? You might merge them a little bit and minimize the amount of collective just frequency that you're taking.
Right. The collective influence for sure, because we are so interconnected and interrelated, and of course we're swayed by each other. For me, I go, what is the benefit of me being in this type of energy right now when I can hold that beautiful space that I normally sit in and actually assist the collective through that lens, as opposed to that contracted, uncomfortable, squeezing chest feeling.
Yeah. No, and I think it is, like you say, you think in theory, well, why would I want to experience any of that brown prickly? Well, it could just be an empathy tool. Emotion, let's not pretend that doesn't exist. Like, I don't feel anything, I'm fine, right? Yeah. No, it is out there, and people are experiencing emotions that they can't quite identify. They don't quite know where it's coming from. And so it's manifesting in different ways. You could be terrified and it comes across as angry or frustrated, right? You don't know. And again, you could be taking on stuff that's not yours and you're not even aware. So this just gives us a little bit of more awareness and a choice point where we can then say, okay, yes, I understand that this chocolate prickly or brown prickly is actually not even mine. So I can now choose to kind of separate from that and take on more of my pearlescent energy to give me more awareness and choice and control in this moment, rather than just spinning my wheels and building momentum. And now it's going to shut down my capacity to think. It creates tunnel vision. So we're not even going to get into in this moment all of the physiological impact that happens when you start to get into those types of high level emotions.
Well, and I would love, so in this short clip, you've given us a beautiful imagery way. Oh, I think it froze. Oh, sorry. It shut down for a second. You've given us a beautiful imagery way it's basically take a pause, right? Take a pause and go, let's move into awareness around what I'm experiencing right now. And so you can use that with pain, with so many different things. But what I'd like to do is I'd like to have you on to a longer session where we can dive deeper into mindset and dive into actually what happens in the physiology and the immune system when we're experiencing these states of being, so that we can recognize we need to really quickly move ourselves out of those places, because we cannot at this time compromise our immune system. I have a link, I think here, 321immune.com, where we did a free webinar. So we invite all of you to look at the free webinar. We had, let's see, there were 5 of us, right? 5 master coaches. And we went through a lot of different human domain health strategies to improve the immune system at this time. And then also would like to enjoy, whoops, that's not, is that it? Yes. Okay. So we'll have the 45-minute over on the YouTube channel. That's the Apeiron Zoe channel. So Meg, thank you so much. I love the imagery. I actually could see it all. And, in the past I've been challenged with that. And so I'm getting better at it. So if you guys you don't find a massive success the very first time, do it again and again, because this stuff really works. And then join us for a bigger deep dive into mindset, and really keep yourself in peace right now and be creative. Okay. Happy day. And we'll see you soon. Take care.